Hello, I'm Dr. Kelly Martin Chu, Amazon bestselling author, speaker, and transformational coach for women. This is my husband, Richard Chu, and we are here today to serve you, to share with you the top 10 tips for creating a thriving marriage and partnership. We are coming up on our 10-year anniversary. That is going to be this Thursday, and unlike some couples that will be going for the schwanky, which we love to do too.
We like schwank.
We like schwank. Is we decided to do it in style, which is camping, which we love to connect in nature. So we're up here, hence the camping look we got going on, and yet we're able to be live in the lodge, right outside of the lodge. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to go through. We sat down. It was pouring rain last night and today.
It just broke.
It just broke. And we sat in front of a fireplace. Hello, Cassia. Thank you for joining. We sat in front of a fireplace today and thought about, what is it that works for us? A lot of people share with us, gosh, I want to find what you have, Kelly. Or, they see Richard and how we react in partnership. And I get commented a lot. So I figured in celebration of our anniversary, here are the top 10 tips we came up today that can be used in any partnership, but we really feel that these are the top 10 that make us work. So we'll go back and forth. So the first one, Richard brings up to me a lot. He says, not trying to change each other. So you want to talk about that for just a minute?
First off, just to let people know, we did have to come up to the lodge here at the campsite to pick up a signal. So there are people coming and going, so there will be a little bit of ruckus and commotion around us. But the number one thing is not trying to change each other. And Kelly and I, when we met March 9th, 2008, a blind date set up by a good friend, David McLaughlin, we were both in a really, really good spot. I mean, timing is, as they say, everything. And we were really healthy in that we were both open and receptive for a great relationship. But once we started building, we really found out really quick that we weren't trying to change each other. We accepted each other for who we are. And I think that's a big key.
So you don't think women can change men? Another conversation.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding.
Another conversation.
No, we
they
laugh
may
about
try,
it, though.
yes.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, lots of people, men and women, guess what?
Yeah.
Both ways. Will go into a relationship and say, oh, I really like this, this, and this, but, the big but, and, they want to change, that they smoke or they drink or their job or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. And that they're not happy with who that person is. And, the old saying, accepting someone exactly who they are is something Kelly and I had from the beginning. So that was kind of our first level of foundation.
Yeah. Okay. Second one is same values. Really coming together in partnership. I think what works is before you go into partnership, for you to get really clear, what is it that you value in life? And one of the things that Richard and I really value, I would say two things. Family has always been important to me. It's important to Richard. Wanted to build a family, and a relationship. That family, faith is important, and so many other things, but our values aligned right from the get-go. And so when partners pull apart, it's often because they really didn't have the same values to start with. And it's a foundation for a relationship, is that we had the same values coming in.
Yeah, and I think with the values, it's something that we talked about this today. And we got married in the rain, and we talked about this in the rain today. Our tent, luckily, is bone dry, but we were actually sitting in the car as it was coming down. And talking about the values, I was saying to Kelly is we do have the structure or the container of what most people would call a traditional marriage, in terms of, yes, we are married, there is a ring on our fingers, we do have a child. She's quite lovely. She's sitting right here with us. Her name is Maddie. And we even have a white picket fence. We live in downtown Boulder, Colorado. And for some people, that would appear to be a traditional marriage and how things are defined now. But at the same time, I think Kelly and I are very different in that, through growth and change, we're also looking for new dynamics. And a book that Kelly ended up giving me for Father's Day, and it is called The Second Mountain by David Brooks. excellent, excellent book, but he talked about moral ecologies and how the tradition of what your generation terms normal. And I'm a little bit older than Kelly, and I'm the tail end of the baby boomers, and there was conformity. You conformed. A marriage looked a certain way. Then we moved into the 60s and 70s, and women were free to be whoever they wanted to be. We were all free to be whoever we wanted to be. And each one kind of went to the extreme to some degree, not to get too far into it, but that now is a new dawn, a new era arrives for us. The values that we are creating, that we are co-creating, and it is something that we do share and that we do build on. And I remember very early, before we even got married, we sat down on a double chase lounge on our deck in Boulder, Colorado. We said life by design, and we talked about our values and how well they aligned up. And I think that that is a key, that if two people are pulling in separate directions, and those values may be religious. I mean, they may be differences of opinion on what morality is, what what your life looks like. So there's many different ways of looking at it, but we share the same values.
Okay. Next one up, no one needs to be right in our partnership. So I think that that is huge, in that so many couples will fight to the end trying to be right, and it causes a lot of challenges. So of course, like any couple, you have disagreements and you have fights, but if both parties want to fight to the end to be right, it's going to be really challenging. So giving up the need to be right.
Yeah, I remember my dad died when I was real young, and my mom got remarried, and they would get into the most ridiculous arguments about the smallest things, and they would fight to be right. And the need to be right is, I think, a real detriment to any healthy relationship. So, Kelly and I, we realize the important things in life and the things that we have our absolutes on, and we each have a handful of them. But there's also things that, I totally respect our differences of opinion, and believe me, we still have them. But she's not wrong for it. And a good friend of mine, Robin, who I went to college with, I'll never forget her saying, just because something is different doesn't mean it's wrong. And let me emphasize, Kelly and I certainly have our differences, those of opinion. But like she says, neither one of us has the need to be right. All
right. So since there are 10, we're going to start to speed through this a little faster. Next one. Respect and love. You take it.
Hey, what more can you say? I think that is a basis of any great relationship, is respect. And, respect and love. It speaks for itself.
Yeah. And I think with that is no name calling, even when the chips go down, not crossing those lines that can never be
And I don't, if this takes a couple of extra minutes, it takes a couple of extra minutes. We did have an incident about a month or so ago to where, hey, some things were said that probably shouldn't have been said. And we very quickly looked at each other and just said, this is not us. And we had both been sick. We were run down. I was hungry. We were having pressures with our individual businesses. So we are not beyond having our lapses. And I just remember very quickly us both saying, hey, this is not us. But yeah, we had a blow up. Let's call it what it is.
Yep. Okay. Next one is a similar vision with what you want. I encourage you, if you're new in a relationship, talk about your desires. Hello, Karen and Karen. Yes. Talk about, what are the things that you want to create? Because in partnerships, really coming together and co-creating, we live in a world where independence, the independent woman, it's like so many women strive for that. And I remember being on that path at one point, and there was no space for a man. There really wasn't. And so I was able to put down my sword, so to speak, and allow Richard into my life. And so with that came co-creation of life, co-creating vision. And we're at a next level in our, after 10 years, like we're having these great conversations, like what's next? What does this next mountain look like that we're going to climb together? So sitting down with your partner and really talking about what do you want in that future? It's Michael Brady. Woo-hoo!
Mike
Hey, Michael.
Brady. Hello, Mike Brady. How are you? We are reading for Father's Day. Kelly gave me this book again. The Second Mountain by David Brooks. He is a New York Times best-selling author. And what's really great is it's starting conversations for us as a couple. And they were talking in chapter 1 about the difference between joy and happiness. And Kelly and I have just had probably an hour and a half conversation. We read a chapter, don't get too far ahead of each other, and then we stop and talk about it. And it's just amazing, the conversations that you can have, and to create these shared values, these shared visions of where you want to go.
Yes. Next one up, rebounding fast and not stacking. So what stacking is, it's a term that we both learned from Tony Robbins. And you can stack in the positive, you can stack in the negative. And so what I'm going to speak to today is stacking in the negative. And you'll see, we all can do this. We're all at fault for doing this. So it's like, you're in a fight with your loved one or anyone, and all of a sudden you're bringing up all the past, that this, you did this, and you did this, and you did this, and it stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks. So you realize in the moment, you're not even fighting about what you think you're fighting about. What you've done is you've like pulled up all of that stuff, and it's stacking and stacking and stacking. So this happens, and to be able to realize, wow, what we're fighting about has nothing to do with what we're fighting about, and let's not stack. Let's be present to what's really, really going on right here, right now. And so our ability to let it go, resolve things, bounce back pretty fast if we get in a fight. Most of the time we resolve it within hours, and sometimes it might take some days as you're integrating your stuff, but we rebound fast when we disagree and if we do have a fight.
And like Kelly says, stacking in the positive and stacking in the negative is, I love to stack positive things. And, it revolves around trust, it revolves around fun, it revolves around, memorable moments that bring pure joy. And they can be the simplest things, like camping on your 10-year wedding anniversary like we're doing right now. We are not a fancy couple. Kelly was digging her purse saying, I need lipstick. I need lipstick. And I said, no, you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
So stack in the positive, and if you do have an issue, resolve it so that when you do get into a disagreement, it's not 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 things, and then all of a sudden, like Kelly said, you don't even know what you're arguing about.
Exactly. Listening. Huge. Next. Profound listening. That's the ability. As a woman, I will tell you, often our minds, when we look at men and women, and this isn't totally like across all boards, but, we process really, really fast, so fast. And sometimes if we could just count in our mind to really let our partner speak, it's something I have had to practice, but that ability to really profoundly listen and be present is a gift. It's a gift to our partners.
2 ears, 1 mouth.
Yeah.
Listen twice as much as we speak.
Space for, go ahead.
It's a work in progress. There's no perfection. There's no there. So, but yes, very simple. Try your very best to listen more than you speak.
Beautiful. 2 more. Space for freedom, but not selfishness.
Can I start on this?
Yes.
This was great.
I love this one.
Yes, that life by design, like we spoke of earlier. Kelly and I, before we were married, were sitting on our porch in Boulder, Colorado, on a Chase Lounge, beautiful day, and she basically was saying, "Hey, you just gotta know right up front that hey, 2 or 3 times a year, I'm gonna take off, and it might be a yoga retreat, it might be a girlfriend ski trip, it might be whatever it may be. Are you okay with this?" And I remember just saying, and again, this is not an open marriage type of a thing at all, but that Kelly needs her freedom to connect with her girlfriends and go on these excursions. And sometimes she just goes someplace and sits on a cushion for a week. Absolutely. And I say go for it. And at the same time, I'll take a ski trip every now and then. So freedom to be free.
Freedom to be free. That you don't have to be attached at the hip all the time. Right.
I can take care of our 8-year-old.
Yes. So
just
the last
as well
one.
As anyone.
So the last one, I had to put it in here because it's Richard's favorite. Oh no, we have 2 more. Oh my gosh, got 2 more. Humor. He always says he's the funny one. But we know.
No, I'm funny.
Who's funny?
Me.
But is it Daddy?
Obviously.
Is it me?
Me.
It's
Who
her.
do you get your humor from, Maddie?
So this is our
Both of you.
daughter. This is our co-creation. But yeah, keeping it light, keeping the humor is so important. Stop taking things so seriously. It's just, yeah. Last one, polarity.
Huge.
You want to talk to him? Okay, so polarity. What we speak to, especially, it's Pride Month and everything. We've got, the masculine, we've got the feminine. They really are energies. So there are men that are more feminine. There are women that are more masculine. That's all good, right? But what makes a relationship work is polarity. And that polarity is holding those different energies. And sometimes they'll go back and forth. But often we find in couples that they create that there's like a flatness in the relationship. When we start to investigate what's going on, often they've sometimes lost that polarity, right, of really standing more in the feminine, another one standing in the masculine. And it's a beautiful, polarity is a beautiful thing. It's what attracts us. So if you're feeling kind of in a relationship where things are flat, look at polarity. Where have you lost your sexiness, for like that femininity, that masculinity that brings you together, and look to see what could re-spark that.
Yeah, I remember at the beginning of our relationship, and again, we're celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary this week, and it is a celebration because of the co-creation that we have done. But when we first started out, Kelly was princess warrior. She was a new doctor in Boulder. She was starting a new practice, and she was out there creating. And there were certain aspects of that were very masculine because she was creating a business in a man's world. And even in enlightened Boulder, we still have traditional business structures that are tough to break sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And entering into our relationship, her allowing the polarity and her beautiful feminine goddess side to emerge on there. And that me also, just part of that conversation that we talked about earlier today, Kelly and I stopped at a restaurant and had a nice lunch. And through the book that we're reading, I said, it's not always easy for a man to portray any sense of weakness or any sense of insecurity that, oh my God, I have everything in charge. I've got everything under control, because I was relaying to her is I am starting a new business after being in the same one for 25 years. I was a small business owner for 25 years in the college textbook industry. Great run. Very grateful for it. But starting something new, wow, I'd like to say, hey, I've got it. Everything's great, but there are days where, man, I really doubt myself and I have insecurities. And I said, it's not easy for me to say to my wife, here's how I feel, without her looking at me as weak. But she knows me well enough to know that it comes from strength, that I can let her in on these moments. And the polarity in our relationship, I think, is fantastic, because it's something that's very healthy.
That's right. So let's do a quick recap. And if you're finding you're wanting and looking for your soulmate and wanting to track your soulmate, I do one-on-one sessions. And so you can book your Irresistible You coaching call with me at pinktent.com/coaching. Let's review these top 10 tips for 10 plus years of marriage, a very happy, joyful marriage. Number one, don't try to change your partner. If you're going into it trying to change them, it's probably not the partnership to be in. Number two, to be on the same page with your same values and to talk about your values. Number three, no one needs to be right. Be able to say when you're wrong, and to really be vulnerable. And the next one, respect and love, mutual respect for the person that you're in partnership with. Vision. Set a vision, co-create, and continue to do this. Next, be willing to let go of the past and really be present with your partner. Be mindful if you're in a disagreement, that you're not stacking in the negative that's making it nearly impossible to communicate.
That gives you in the positive.
You can also that gives you ability to rebound fast. Stacking the positive would be remember when and all the positive things, and that creates quite a bit of joy. Profound listening to what is and is not being said, really being present with your partner. Giving your partner space for freedom. And as women, we often tag that as being selfish. It's not selfish to nourish yourself, take time for yourself, give yourself freedom for expression, and to have each partner having that ability to feel free. And last two, humor. Don't take things and each other so seriously. and that polarity, and how important that polarity is as a law of attraction to bring you together. So if you're finding you have lost passion in your relationship, see where you've maybe lost your polarity, and recreate something new. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's our top 10.
From Snow Mountain Ranch up here in Tabernacle, Colorado. I think the rain is starting to come in. And can I make a declarative statement once and for all here? I tell my wife all
I
the
know what
time
he's gonna say.
that she's not funny, that, you know, she'll tell a joke and I'll say, yeah, so. My wife is really, really funny.
Oh my gosh, it's on tape.
It's on tape. It
Now
is.
the whole new world.
It's official.
So
And Maddie Piper is
really funny.
Hilarious.
Really funny. So again, if you're wanting more joy and a thriving partnership, or you're wanting to attract your soulmate, I can help you. So just go ahead and go to pinktent.com/coaching with Dr. Kelly. I look forward to serving you. Have a fantastic day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.